First things first.
Before Flavor Flav ever lost his way and before he was diminished into being the flavor of love dude to a lost generation, my guy was a soothsayer, an intuitive prognosticator who once warned us all, don't believe the hype. Now more than ever, we need to heed the words of William Drayton Jr. And it's not just 2021's cult of celebrity, it's the NFL draft. You see, every year we fall for the idea that simply selecting one of the overhyped quarterbacks at the top of the first round will save your franchise, despite overwhelming evidence that this is simply not true. Now, I'm not saying the quarterback position isn't important. It's remarkably important. I'm saying where you draft the quarterback is nowhere near as important as what you surround him with and how much patience you have with him. And guess what, kids? I have mountains of evidence to back it up. In fact, all I should have to say is the GOAT, Tom Brady, selected 6th round, 199th overall, and it should end there. Yeah, I could show the pictures everyone has seen of Brady at the draft combine in his gitch with the sign or running his terrible 40 just to prove all this hype means very, very little. I mean, think of this. The NFL draft machine and all of its lieutenants had Giovanni Carmazzi over Tom Brady. They also had Chris Redman over Tom Brady and T. Martin over Tom Brady and how they call him the Brady Six. And Tom has never forgotten. So why do we forget? And it's not just Brady. Joe Montana, 3rd round pick. He went 79 selections after Jack Thompson. Who? Yeah, Jack Thompson. And it's not just 20, 30, or 40 years ago. Russell Wilson, 3rd round. Aaron Rodgers, 24th overall. Even Patrick Mahomes was taken after Mitchell Trubisky and Corey Davis and Mike Williams and John Ross. So as we walk into another draft where we're looking at quarterbacks going 1, 2, maybe 1, 2, 3, 5 in the first 10 picks, I am not saying Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy or even Mac Jones. I am saying you're just as likely to find the gem at 23 or in the second day than you are taking him in the top 10 picks, like every draft pundit would have you believe heading in. And I know you're sitting there shaking your head because they've programmed you to think this way, kids. That's right. For every John Elway and Peyton Manning, I know they're out there taking first overall legends, Hall of Famers. There's also a Jamarcus Russell and a Tim Couch or a David Carr or a Steven Barkowski. Yeah, I know he was okay, but he was no savior. Still don't believe me? All right. NFL.com named their top 25 QBs in the history of the game. 15 of them have come out of college in the last 50 years. Only 3 of them were selected in the top 10 picks of the draft. 3 out of the top 15 were picked in the top 10 picks in the draft. There were almost as many undrafted quarterbacks on the list at 2, Kurt Warner and Warren Moon. And if you look at the names on that list, you realize that the situation they were drafted into matters way more than any draft geek will ever tell you. We're led to believe that franchise-changing talent is there. And outside of Manning or Elway, simply not true. The team and coaches you surround them with, the patience you have with the quarterback, those are simply more important factors to finding the very best at quarterback than his draft position. Is Mahomes Mahomes without a good team moving up to get him and giving him some time to grow? Dan Marino, greatest rookie season of all time. At 27th overall, he joined a team that had won an average of 10 games in each of the previous 4 seasons. Good teams. Former number 1 overall pick, Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. Tom Brady, who threw 3 passes in his first season, takes over. Is Brady without New England early? How about Russell Wilson? One of the greatest defenses of our generation allowed him to grow without pressure. In fact, Wilson went to 2 Super Bowls in his first 3 seasons, won one of them, and threw for over 268 yards just once in the 8 playoff games it took him to get there, and the Seahawks lost that game. In fact, in the 3 games that he played on his way to his Super Bowl, he averaged 175 yards passing per game. I mean, think of all of the names chewed up and spit out because their teams around them just weren't ready. How many guys got hurt because they didn't have an O-line? What would Robert Griffin III have been? Carson Palmer with the Bengals. Remember what that was before finally getting out? And finally, patience. That's right, patience. Wilson is one of just 2 QBs on that top 15 list to start all 16 games in their rookie season, along with Peyton Manning. Wilson's patience came from his defense, but waiting and watching. Just waiting and watching, without the pressure of having to win right away, is without a doubt a tie that binds the best. Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, Montana, Breeze, Favre all sat and watched for a while, while others were seasoned in other leagues. Jim Kelly, Warren Moon, Kurt Warner, Steve Young, and even Marino. Even Marino waited a couple of weeks before he tore up the league. And before you go thinking that the depth of quarterback talent guarantees something, just look at the last 2 times 5 quarterbacks were taken in the first round. I will begin in 2018. Baker Mayfield, 1st overall. Sam Darnold, 3rd. Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson, 32nd. Draft that one over again. Where do those dudes go? How about 1999? Here's your 5 in the first round. Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, Achilles Smith, Dante Culpepper, and Cade McNown. And by the way, the one guy booed by his team's fans, Donovan McNabb. Right. Listen, this may be the greatest class ever. It might be 1983 all over again. And it might not. This mountain of evidence is not meant to take aim at Todd McShay or Mel Kiper or anyone else with better hair than I. It's to remind you that football is the ultimate team game, and that before Flava Flav was lost to New York or Pumpkin or Delicious, he was right when he uttered the phrase, "Don't believe the hype."
First things first.